owns Children's World and Children's World Uniform Supply with his wife Cynthia. 2012 National Runner-Up Independent Small Business of the Year, and in business since 1964. Children's World offers specialty toys, games, and educational supplies, Boy Scout, school, sport, and work uniforms, custom embroidery and printing, and every imaginable promotional product. Children's World also houses a U.S. Post Office inside the store. Tim has lived in Sarasota since 1983 and has 20 years of financial experience. He has seen the effects of using branding effectively and not so effectively in his time running the region's small business banking department and as a chief financial officer of a local technology company. Tim is a member of the Business Advisory Group, is Play Expert, and is on the board of Astra, American Specialty Toy Retailing Association. He is a master decorator and is also a branding expert, holding a MASI, M-A-S-I designation, which is the equivalent of a master's degree in advertising specialties and promotional products. Tim's guest today is Rick Hughes. Rick is the Director of Community Outreach for Goodwill, Minnesota, and the co-host of Tell Me Something Good on WSRQ 106.9 FM, Sarasota's Talk Radio, Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. He transitioned to Goodwill after a 25-year career in real estate, having owned a brokerage in Maryland and served as branch manager for Michael Saunders' Palmer Ranch office. Over the years, Rick owned a boutique pro shop called The Running Racket and founded both Sarasota Actors Workshop and AnythingArts.com. Rick has produced more than 30 plays, 40 video productions, and several special events. He has performed and studied at Florida Studio Theater, the Oslo, and McCurdy's. When not working, Rick can be found trying to figure out what to do when he is not working. Now take it away, Tim.
You're down to 5 minutes now, you know.
All the intro before your 10 minutes. All right, Rick, thanks for joining me today. So tell me, all that stuff that gets donated to Goodwill, what happens to it?
Everything that we touch has to be turned into money in some sort, to provide services to the community and to provide jobs. As you can see, our mission is changing lives through the power of work. 878 local employees relying on a check every 2 weeks. We have to sell those things. 16,000 people received services from Goodwill last year, everything from job connection, finding employment, to GED classes, to Spanish language, you name it.
Wow. So Goodwill's involved in a lot of things besides just all the stuff that ends up in the store. What other kind of things do you guys do?
We have a veterans program to help veterans and their families to reintegrate back into the community as well as find jobs. 65% of the employees at Goodwill have a barrier to employment. That can be transportation, lack of education, English as a second language, past felony conviction. We don't look at the disability, we look at the ability.
Very good. So with all those things you have going on and all those locations you have all over the place, you certainly use a lot of promotional products.
We rely on Tim for promotional products because there's so much disinformation out there about Goodwill. In fact, we are a nonprofit, 501c3, and we have to let you know who we are, where we are, what we do, why we do it, and we rely on the branding for that purpose.
Very good. And what's it like working with me for that?
Could you leave the room for a couple?
Sure.
Having been in a variety of businesses over the years, and we all know time is money, and I know that when we call you, we can rely on you, first of all, having the product knowledge, but also looking out for our best interests and guiding us in the right direction. We try not to be last minute for our requests, but that's not always possible. As you can see from the things here that we rely on Tim for, and branding is crucial for us. You also give back a tremendous amount of your time and effort with Goodwill as an ambassador, so I know that from the other people that I know that work with you, it's not just the business side. You get involved and you know exactly what their business is, what their needs are, so that you can tailor tailor your efforts to them, and you do for us, and we appreciate it.
You bet, thank you. And you guys have a big day today, right?
We have our VIP grand opening tonight for our biggest, newest store, which will be Lakewood Ranch in Ranch Lake. That's not confusing enough. State Road 70, just east of the interstate. So it actually opens tomorrow. We expect to do about $60,000 in sales tomorrow of those donated goods.
Wow, a lot of money, it'll put a lot of people back to work and out in the community, that's awesome. What are some other myths out there about Goodwill that you guys run across?
Well, I'm sure everybody in here has received the email that says that Goodwill is a for-profit owned by a guy named Mark Curran who drives a Rolls Royce and flies a private jet and makes $20 million a year. I get that forwarded to me on a weekly basis. Somebody gets it. Absolutely untrue. Goodwill is, for terms that everybody can understand, Goodwill International is the parent company and we're all affiliated territories. There's 180 different Goodwills in 22 different countries. Here we are in Sarasota, Manatee, DeSoto, and Hardee counties with a local board, local management, and the money staying here. Our impact last year in this community was $81.3 million.
Wow, that's a big number. So we need to come up with a promotional product to dispel the email that's out there.
Yes.
Haven't quite figured that one out yet, though. That's too bad. Well, let's see, do we have any questions from our audience today?
What time is the event today?
What time is the event today? 4 to 6 p.m.
Henry?
What would determine disqualification of a potential employee?
You didn't pass the P test. Otherwise, that's about it.
Is that right,
Truly. Violent, we don't, with past violent offenders, that would probably disqualify them, but everybody else, we're gonna give them the opportunity to do the job, if they can do the job. Because a lot of people made one silly mistake when they were 18 years old, and now they're 35 and they're trying to start over. We wanna give them that opportunity to start over.
Fine.
How long have you been working with Tim, and why did you choose Tim's company for your ad?
That's a good question.
Gosh, probably 5, how long's Veronica been there?
Veronica Brendan Miller and I have both been there about 4 years.
So, 4 years.
And Veronica as well, she has a depth of knowledge in the local nonprofit arena, has moved from Boys and Girls Club to Shelter Box, and Tim's been there all along, making sure that things work, and when you have a good relationship, you carry it over.
How does it work? Can you walk us through the process, like when you donate something, you drop it off at one of the
Yep.
drop-off centers? What happens
We
with
call
your
that the river. First of all, hopefully nobody lives within more than 5 miles from a drop-off center. And we do that on purpose so that it's convenient for you to drop off. If I was to donate this shirt on the river, that's the flow of goods from the time we receive it to where it ends up. This shirt will be brought into the store. If it's saleable in the store, it will be sorted, hung, put in the store. It will stay there no longer than 3 weeks. If it doesn't stay in 3 weeks because it has a color-coded bar, it is pulled out and sent to a clearance center where it's sold for up to 50% off. If it's not sold there in 3 weeks, it's moved to the bargain barn where it will last no more than an hour. Things sell in there, it's by the pound. If it doesn't sell there, or if something comes in and it's not sellable in a store, it will bypass that whole process, and both of those things will end up in our salvage market, where we put bales of 1,000 pounds worth of things, and we do 40 of those a day, put them on a truck, and pre-sell them around the world. Everything we touch, if we touch it more than once, it costs us money, and then we can't pay people for jobs. So we have to make sure that we make the most profit on it. We sell the cardboard box that you bring in, your donations, we sell the plastics, we sell everything we can put our hands on. Because in years past, we paid trucks to go to the landfill and pay a fee to get rid of stuff. That's contrary to the business model, so we've had to find places to sell it.
How do you decide which stores get what? I mean, if it's not a store that you're dropping it off at, if it's just one of the
Yeah.
centers.